Well, that's a spicy way to fucking put things. The plane is mediocre at best. Okay, all right. I mean, we would have to get into the spoilers to really go in depth about that, which we're not gonna do. We're just gonna
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about 691. But man,
I mean, later when
I,
when
yeah,
Drew
yeah, we
goes
we could
here.
do that later at like 10. Yeah, because man, I want to talk about this plan because I disagree heavily actually, but I think there's room for debate about it. But yeah, let's just get to the chapter. So 691. I mean, I thought this was pretty decent chapter. If I was to give it a rating, maybe like a 7, 7.5. I think it did a good job of building up the Kanki reveal. Like we saw both of Kocho's guys. It started off with them being cocky as shit. They're like, yeah, we're destroying them, we're destroying them. Then it's like, oh, but Kanki's still not found. Like it gives you like that feeling of unrest. And then they're like, yeah, never mind. We're gonna find them. We're gonna destroy them. Like it kind of was going through that pattern even when they were like flanking the center. They're like, yeah, we're
Hmm.
destroying all of them. We're encircling them. They're like, but Kanki's still not found. Like just that
Yeah,
feeling it gives you. Like I found it pretty funny. And then after that, we go to Osen, which apparently you want to talk about that. I didn't think there was much to say about that, but I'll hear what you have to say. And then the reveal, which is pretty much the best part of this chapter, just the panel itself. Like, Hara doesn't hold back on Kanki panels, man. That's a fucking fantastic panel. I really fuck with that panel.
nah, yeah. Like I said, in terms of the look, it's a very good looking chapter. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of what we're actually seeing, like you know what I'm saying, from the very onset of the chapter, is just like you said. The Zao dudes are confident. They're getting their reports. These niggas is cocky. You know what I'm saying? Then we flash over to what I thought was the most interesting part about like Osen just thinking about it again. It's like, wait, he says he's after Kocho, right? And like he sees the board and it's like, all right, there's just this one piece. And they bring up the Sun Bin stuff, who apparently is supposed to be related to Sun Tzu or whatever.
Yep.
So I get, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool. But then the way that they highlight what he did for Kui, you know what I'm saying? It's like nigga, it was an elaborate thing that was set up using campfires and other means to throw the enemy off. And in terms of what Conky did, it was a downgraded version of this. Because Conky didn't even use campfires or anything. He just my niggas are bitches. So they're gonna run and I'm gonna use that.
Well, keep in mind we still don't. I'm waiting for the translation for the next chapter. We still don't know exactly like the full entirety of the plan. But what I'm gonna say is
I'm just was
I
talking
like
about
the
what
way.
Olsen talked about.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I like the way this was shown because like up until this chapter, without taking the spoilers into account, we don't really know what his plan is, but we know it's like involving the Sunbin plan in some way. Like it's comparable to it in some way for us to think about it. So I think it's like a nice touch to add in something that's comparable and like it brings intrigue so you can guess what it is, but it's not exactly like so one to one that that just explains the plan completely. Like I think it leaves you in good suspense to what the plan is if you're invested in trying to figure it out or the mystery of it all.
Like yeah, it leaves it open ended enough for Conky to have his own conkiness to it. But again, given from what we're seeing, bro, it's like nigga, it was just there wasn't even a conkiness to it other than yeah, I'm gonna just let these niggas die. Like that's all it was. I'm gonna let them die, and then I'm gonna wait for Shin to win.
Kind of in a
And
way,
and,
yeah.
and you know what I'm saying. And to me, that's not a big brain play. That's not. Again, we all like we all knew coming into this chapter that Coach O was gonna die, and that's why I was saying he was stupid because he took the bait, came all the way over here, and like Tone was saying, he was supposed to be the guardian deity, and like where's his defense at? It seems to me like he's more of an offensive deity than anything. You know what I'm saying? Because like he hasn't shown any like defensive tactics or like any defensive ability. It's just like I got more men, so my men are gonna run through your men. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it seems like I had wrote this in the chat that it felt more like Shin versus Kocho's army than it was Kocho versus Konki. Because it just didn't seem like neither side, like at least Conky and Culture, it just didn't seem like they were doing enough.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hold back talking about the spoilers, but what I will say is that it is kind of weird in a sense where, my argument to defend Kocho at the time was he's going to make sure that Kanki's thoroughly eradicated, but he didn't really do anything to ensure that. You know,
Right.
all his troops had that unlocked by themselves. All he did was kind of stand in his tent and just, you know, wait for reports.
Survey. Yeah, he just surveyed. Like he could have did that from the center, and it would have made more logical sense. And you know what I'm saying? It's just so weird that he came all the way here to do nothing.
And another thing is like something else I argued was in case something goes wrong, he's gonna be there to make sure he can take over the reins and make sure it goes right. But he didn't try to fight Shin's unit. You know, he just sent he sent Kohaku's guys, which that's fine. But you know, if you're here to make sure if something goes wrong, you handle that. Why didn't you go handle Shin?
Shit, why didn't you? Well, I guess you could say he figured the Rito stuff was already handled, but yeah, I guess the Rito stuff was already handled. The Sun hasn't fucked up since he's been put in place. So
Yeah.
I'll give you know what I'm saying, I'll give him the leeway. Like, yo, he was confident enough in the Sun. But yeah, with the whole Shin shit, my nigga, it was just nah. My man's got beat, and I'm gonna go send in another 5,000 to match them. Which, like I've been saying for the longest, is such a pivotal play that like if you had to quantify these feats, my nigga, there's no way that like Kanki gets the dub, like Kanki gets the most because he's the quote unquote commander in chief, he's the Quinn Six. But if we want to talk about actual feats and actual like achievements this battle, Kanki he has a cool panel standing outside the cliff, I'll give him that. This last panel looks very fucking cool with him just standing there, like but he hasn't done anything, like
Well, I'm still conflicted on all this because, like I said, I think this is all unnecessary. If they just fought the normal way, they would have made it to Kocho and beat his ass regardless. So if this is like a situation where Kanki had to face Kocho, then it would be different. But that's what really leaves a sour taste in my mouth. But what I'm gonna say is I'm still sticking by that. You know, Shin did a lot, obviously, but
mm-hmm.
at best, if he beats what's his face, Buddha Man, that's taking out like a fourth of Kocho's army, let's say. So at best, like he took out a fourth, you're still not even close to defeating the whole army, and he's pretty much so tired that they're not a super big threat to Kohakuko, his men, which I kind of like
Mm-hmm.
because it's like we said, like if Shin just led an almighty charge, I would have been pretty whack.
Yeah,
But
it'd have been too like it'd have been plain. It'd have just been everything that we've already seen.
yeah, but basically what I'm getting at is like beating Buddha Man doesn't even bring you close to bring it to beating the whole army. So while Kanki had to rely on Shin for this example, he still has like the death blow in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
Kanki has the death blow, and I'm not trying to deny that. But what I'm saying is everything surrounding the death blow was set up by Shin, quite literally. From saving Uhon to taking EQ to pushing forward and attacking Kocho, which caused Kocho to send out another 5,000, which gave Kanki this opportunity to even attack. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be real, I don't know how many people Kanki have left, but like the way it was looking in this chapter is like my nigga, he has like random like 10-man units attacking every you know what I'm saying, attacking Pitch Posh. So I'm gonna say given new information next chapter, Conky has like 3,000 niggas. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit here and say Conky has a whole 10,000 army that he can just get this done with by himself.
well, he
And
has like
given
7,000 in the center, right? So I would assume maybe he has
yeah,
like
something like
2K
that.
left in the right because Rydell got fucked. So his whole army,
So
including the people that are with him attacking the HQ, it's probably around 10K.
no, I'm talking about with him specifically attacking the HQ,
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
I'm saying like he probably has anywhere from 1,000 to say 3,000 niggas with him attacking the HQ, and all of this, you know what I'm saying, was set up by Shin. Like you can't even point to another general or another commander in his own army to say, "Yo, he did X that set up Y," or "He did Z that set up A." It's all been the High Shin unit. So this is why, like, this is like where me and Draco get into our arguments because it's like, bruh, you can't tell me your God, the Savior, Kanki is yet again riding the coattails of the High Shin unit.
Yeah,
If Shin
their only
doesn't,
setup was getting bodied, pretty much.
like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if Shin and them don't come do what they do, my nigga, this is not a war that Kanki wants to you know what I'm saying? This is not a war that niggas would have chosen to do this. And I don't know. Like I don't know how to say this without sounding like a fucking without just sounding like overly fucking angry. But Coach O's men are trash. I'm sorry, they're trash. They're absolutely trash. You mean to tell me you getting reports about one, two, three, four, five, six, seven? I count 7 dudes in this initial charge. You telling me you had to report that instead of just wiping them out? You had to report this.
I mean,
Like you couldn't.
I think it's
Like
worth
you,
reporting just because them being there in itself is like fucking weird and could lead to other shit.
okay, okay. Granted, I'll give you that, right? But at the same time, you couldn't have like reported it as it was being handled. Like you niggas just
There were
like
7 guys attacking. There were. And,
that's what I'm saying. Like y'all just let them do that. So it's like, bruh, Coach O's men ain't that good. Coach O himself ain't that smart because nigga, you stood on top of the hill and let everything happen.
and where's that 96 intelligence at?
Yeah, bruh, like, like, what is going on right now? When I read this chapter, I'm looking like, okay, Coach O's about to do something, like, right? Like, I'm in my head, like, okay, what's Coach O about to do? And then it just seems like this nigga's trying to run. So it was like like, I mean, he saw the plan, I guess, like midway, like after it was already happening, he's talking about the plan, but it's like. It's a little too late for that, right? Like it's a little too late.
Yeah. I mean, I really want to talk about the fucking spoilers, but, you know, I'll refrain myself.
I mean, later tonight we could dive headfirst into that with Druko because you know he's gonna have something to say about this.
Oh, for sure. We already talked about it, and he's already salty. He's like,
It's the-
I do not want to be there with Twale talking about this shit.
oh yeah, no, he can't live after this. No, you can't talk so much shit for a character. Like, you know what I'm saying? It would be the same thing for me and Osen, right? Like if Osen's whole plan revolved around a high string unit and Uhon's unit awakening, and there was no locust, there was no spies, there was no key food supply. You know what I'm saying? If there was none of that, then I would be saying the same shit about Osen. But the difference is Osen had all of that prepared before they ever left Kanyo.
I think that's a good talking point, actually, because I know Draco is probably going to compare this to the Locust, and they both use the word insane, right? Because first, from the spoilers we got, the interpretation was Osen was thinking even for Kanki, this is crazy, and then Draco was apparently trying to say that now that Osen's like that's changed to Osen saying even I wouldn't go this far. He's trying to say that the implication isn't that he's saying even for Kanki that this is crazy, which I disagree with. I think him saying that that's insane. Like he knows how crazy Kanki is, so for him to say that would pretty much be the same implication, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how I'm gonna compare this to the Locust is, I think Kanki called him insane because I think Kanki still at that point he didn't know the entire plan and he didn't know how risky it actually was. Because even someone like Riboku, he wasn't used to having to think of something like this, so he didn't know what would run out first, the food supply in Gyo or Kin's food supplies. So I think
Right.
Kanki was of the same mindset where he's like, you're so insane that you don't even know like what the implications of this are. You're just thinking, you're only thinking as far as, okay, they're on the limit now and we're on the limit, so just beat them in time. Because that's a lot
Mm-hmm.
more crazier than what Osen's plan actually was.
I mean, Osen's plan was have everybody think that we're on a time limit, but nigga, I got food coming. I know I have food coming because I'm the GOAT. That's all there is to it. I'm the fucking greatest that Quinn has right now. We, nigga, in Osen, we trust. I'm tired of having to tell niggas. I'm tired of, yo, Kanki who, my nigga? Kanki what? Like, again, it's a cool play, but my nigga, you sacrifice way too much to get it done. And then to truly rely on fucking how many miracles, how many like crazy odds did Kanki have to rely on for this to like again to answer your question before, is it okay for us to assume that Kanki assumed Shinigami would win? And it's like my nigga, in this fashion, yeah, it's kind of crazy for him to assume all of that in half a day.
Yeah, I think it's debatable because obviously it was hammered into us that what Ohan did, it was crucial. Him sending our Kaken and finding out the main attacking point. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm not gonna say that because like for Kanki to figure that out, obviously he can, right? He can figure out that sending a Kaken or sending someone around like that very weird path, like taking your time, that could be crucial. And then finding out the main attacking point, that's crucial too. So if Ohan can figure it out, obviously Kanki can. But the thing is, you can't really like argue definitively that he has enough basis to assume that Ohan would come up with that plan without him telling him anything. Because his whole plan was like he wanted Ohan to get bodied because like the way the timing worked out. You know, he couldn't have had that part of the AQ. He couldn't have had AQ get taken down too quickly. It wouldn't have worked with the rest of his army getting bodied. They wouldn't have gotten bodied that fast if it's seeming realistic. So he
Hmm.
couldn't have told Ohan the plan. But I don't think it's like insane, like for matter of factly, to assume that he would assume Ohan would come up with those plans because Ohan is known to be very smart. He has feats that aren't common knowledge, but you can assume Kanki might know. But that in itself to be like, oh yeah, Ohan's very smart, and he's also the son of Osun, but that might be a big part of it too, him knowing he's the son of Osun. But I don't know. I think it's weird, and you can debate either way. That maybe it's fair for him to assume Ohan would come up with those plans. Maybe it isn't. And then also for them climbing the hill, that's the other crucial part. Can he really assume that their troops are that good that they'll climb that hill? I don't know about that.
Okay, to assume that Uhon, all right, well, I guess Uhon is considerably better than any of the other units that he had before. So fine, Uhon is considerably better to survive the meat grinder that you're sitting into, right? But then you have to assume that Uhon survives with enough men in a position to actually help Shin. Because again, it was, you know what I'm saying, like a plan for him to call in Shin much later. I still don't get why the later part, but whatever. It was a part of the plan. Now you want me to believe, on top of you knowing that Uhong would live, that Shin would get to Uhong in time, you want me to believe that you are giving enough credit that the High Shin unit is stronger than your own people, right? Because if it was coming to the point where, nigga, I just need this to be taken and this being taken is what's going to win, then why didn't he send Rido or somebody there? Like, why didn't he send, like, what
Because
happened
Rido's a bum who's a dead bitch too. Am I wrong?
Oh my god. Hold on 1 second. Close this door.
Hey, when you're speaking facts, you're speaking facts.
Okay. Yeah, but like, all right. Because Rido, yeah, nah, Rido's a dead. Yeah, nah, he's dead. He's gone. But my whole thing is from the jump because the way it's being highlighted is that Kanki had this set up from day one. This was the whole reason why he was pushing like this specific, you know what I'm saying, location so hard because he had all of this set up. So it's like, while you didn't set up for your men to desert the others, like he didn't have that a part of his plan. I mean, like that, it was a part of his plan, but it wasn't him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least the way Kocho and them talk, like, nah, the people that was running were really running. So,
Yeah, but I
Kanki
think that's
just,
part of it because if you tell them to run, then they might not. It might not seem realistic enough.
nah, I get that, but it's just highlighting that Kanki knows that his men are bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that's all that is. So you knew that your men were so bitch made that they were gonna run on you, and then you took that as a chance to hide the Zeno clan and whatever, like whoever you got attacking. Because you know what I'm saying? I'm assuming it's the Zeno clan at this point. We still haven't seen this nigga, and where else would he be? The Saki clan. Are they fighters or are they just torturers? I never fully knew.
Well,
But
if you ask Draco, they have like a very powerful leader and they're all very strong. But that's asking
yeah,
Draco.
yeah. So you know what I'm saying? It's just getting to the point where it's like, how much of this is just like how much of this is just too crazy to believe that it doesn't even matter if you thought about it beforehand or not. Like, how much are you really relying on just crazy? Oh, well, this happened and then this happened, so yeah, we won, as opposed to actually having a plan.
Yeah, I think probably the craziest part about it is the timing, knowing exactly how long it'll take for your troops to be defeated enough to where it's time to go attack Kocho, and like that working out with them taking AQ, like the exact timing. And this is a thing that happens in Kingdom a lot, where it's almost like clairvoyance level of perfectly predicting the timing. Like you're almost like predicting the seconds or something. Like
Yeah,
it shit can get pretty crazy. But that's kind of like typical Kingdom in the way, though this is kind of stretched out in terms of like how believable it is. I will grant you that. But yeah, like I'll say the timing is the hardest thing to predict. AQ, like them taking is debatable, and we'll just have to see what exactly the plan is to be compared to Sun Bin because we don't know it or anything. We didn't read spoilers, but yeah, I don't know. Like I'm conflicted because I'm glad that Shin he it's not relying on him to the extent where he's making it to Kocho. But I also
Hmm.
wanted to see Kocho do something, which he still might. But it kind of seems like it's setting it up to where, Kocho's caught off guard. Kanki's about to pull his big play because Kanki's like so confident right now that he's just chilling by himself.
And this is why I said to Juco before in the chat that he should wait because this nigga was like, "See, I told you." We saw Kanki stepping out the forest, and it was like, "My nigga, calm down. We have no idea what's going on. We don't know the context of anything." But Juco got to be Juco. And this is why I was asking earlier, like, yo, if he does get saved, is Kanki trash?
If Kanki gets saved or if Kocho
Yes,
gets saved.
if either one of them gets saved in this crucial moment, like, all right, put it like this, right? If Kanki gets saved by Yotanwa, say that was the joke, but like, if he
Oh
get
man.
right, but if Kanki gets saved in general, like, just he can't do it on his own, whether it be the high shin unit comes and cleans up, or it be Osen that comes and cleans up. How does that affect your view of Kanki, or does it affect your view of Kanki?
It doesn't affect it that much because like even if that doesn't happen, I still have qualms about it being risky. Like there's certain things that you don't know for sure. You don't know how smart Kocho is. You don't know how cautious he is. You don't know how strong Kocho is. Like Kocho could like pull a fucking massacre. Like we don't know. So no matter what, I still think there's risk to this plan that Kanki's just crazy enough to be willing to take. And so, however, like whatever plays out, like unless it's Kocho just outsmarting Kanki, that's different. But if he
Mm-hmm.
just happened to underestimate this or that, and then it leads to him needing to get help, then I just chalk it up to that's how risky the plan is. Like I'm not really like depending on what happens, I'm gonna put more stake on Kanki's not as good now. Like it's still risky regardless. Anything could happen at this point.
Yeah, all I know is somebody got to be dumb because there's no way two smart people are going through this right now. One of these motherfuckers, they're dumb. Like one of them is dumb. Like I'm sorry, but like if I'm Kocho and literally all I know about Conky is that he's unpredictable. You know what I'm saying, he does shit crazy, and I still take the bait. It's on my dumb ass for taking the bait and getting two of my niggas clapped. But then on the reverse here, like you said, if I'm Conky and I get my dumb ass clapped, you know what I'm saying? I just got my dumb ass clapped for thinking that I was so smart, or I don't even know what it is at this. Because again, I can't call this intelligence, my nigga. This is just clairvoyance, like you said. Like, nigga, I can see into the future so well that I know when and where and who is gonna do what. It just seems so like we need more context. I need more information from what Conky was doing because again, if you want to compare this to the Locust and all of that, it's like there's no way. There's no common ground right now other than Conky did a thing, Osen did a thing.
Yeah, and like just talking about like the clairvoyance of the timing and all that. Like there's other moments like Mako his flank. He like perfectly knew how long it would take Moten to have Kisu's army turn around. Like and then perfectly knew how long it would take Mako to get there and like he knew the exact timing. Or like Karin, like
Mm.
she had like a fucking like a 6 layered plan that was all like hidden behind good deceptions. And she knew exactly how long it would take to pull that off. And then she knew exactly the right time to send the rest of the 5K troops, and then they're not going to be able to see where they are, or they're not going to check that place, whatever their route was, because we didn't see the actual route of Karin's plan, and that's
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of that's kind of like a part of why we hold it in such high regard. We just assume that she took a very clever route instead of it being kind of in plain sight,
Messy.
but like to the
Yeah.
side, so they didn't see it because they were so focused on Karin. Because I would kind of like put it down by a bit, at least for me. But I'm just gonna assume she had like a great plan for the actual routing of it. But yeah, there are these moments in Kingdom where like they're able to fucking just calculate the timing so fucking like immaculately, like it's crazy.
Like what was his name? The bow dude with Renpa, just the my lord at the right fucking moment, right before Renpa blows open the like. How did you know that? Nigga? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. We can sense Renpa. He's the goat, but still, it's like, my nigga, you. you didn't see him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't see him to be like, my lord, he's pretty good. Like, nah, that was, yeah. There's too much in Kingdom where it's just like, nigga, I know. And then it gets to the point where it's like, bro, if you know and I know you know, then how do I not know that you know to like stop this? You know, like it's weird. It's just getting weird, bro. It's just getting weird now. Because I swear to God, the way they was hyping up the guardian deity Kocho, my nigga, yo, like he should not have
Tone
been.
saying he's the best defensive general in the verse.
Look. According to Zhao, he should have been, my nigga. Like they was hyping him up like that. So that's what I'm with. I'm with Tone on that. It's like, my nigga, how you the guardian deity and you getting clapped? Like this is your first time out the capital and you getting clapped.
Yeah, like I said, we'll have to go into the spoilers to actually talk about like the nitty gritty of it and how justified Kocho is in not expecting it. But what I will say is that he really fucked up in because he had so much fucking troops, man. Like he didn't have to have them
You
all looking for Kanki, and like maybe in the center you can have them all focused on Kanki. That's fine, I guess. But fucking Ryu Haku at his fucking left, like he pretty much decimated Raido's army. He beat Raido's army so bad. He was taking the time out of his day to personally behead all of them. That's how badly they got fucked up.
right.
And it's like you have all those troops focusing on that, but you can't send like 5k of his army to just reinforce Kocho's HQ. Because if you do that, then what's Kanki gonna do? You can't do anything.
Nothing. Like no, yeah, nothing. But honestly, at that moment in time, I don't even think that they was thinking about the HQ. It was really just find Kanki. So I again,
Well, up until that point, he didn't even know Kanki wasn't found. He's like, oh, he wasn't found yet? What?
yeah, that too. So it's like I don't know. It's like, bro, you could send them every which way, but they not gonna find what's not there to be found. And like I don't, because the way they said it was like, yeah, we knew that they were behind the what was it the bitch's name, the
Oh, cool.
Kokuo. Yeah, they was like, they knew that he was behind Kokuo, but then afterwards it was like they found the HQ, but then the HQ was deserted. So it was like, yo, Kanki just abandoned. Yo, Kanki really abandoned her, my nigga. Her and Rengoku got abandoned. Like I don't like. There's no way you could just. There's no way you could like tell me any differently, my nigga. He
Yeah,
straight up left them to die.
that's another thing, because me and Draco assumed that they would be able to get out without that much of a worry, and Kanki would predict that, but, you know, are they actually going to die? Like, they're in a pretty bad spot.
My nigga, the only thing that saves them is the report that Kocho and them is under attack, and then they, you know what I'm saying, they have to rush up to go save Kocho. That's the only thing that saves Kokuo and Rengoku, because it's damn sure not Kanki. Like,
Yo, and Draco's going to pull up, he's going to be like, Kanki predicted that.
of course he is. Of course.
Of
You know,
course.
Kanki predicted everything up until the moment where Kanki's head is on his shoulders. Like I knew Kanki could do no wrong when Draco said if Kanki dies, he's still the GOAT.
Yo, he wanted to die. He had all that anger.
Like,
He wanted to get rid of himself with this world.
I can't wait. No, I really can't wait for the end of this arc just to see how everything played out, just to see, like, was we right for disrespecting Kocho? Was we wrong? I still feel justified because this nigga looking big dumb, but you know, that's just me.
And here's another thing, Riboku, because we argued
Oh,
it's pretty likely that he can show up, so if he shows up, it's got to be soon.
okay. See, I ain't gonna hold you. In the beginning of the arc, I did think that Raboku would show up midway through this arc,
Yeah, now
but
I'm starting to
now,
think probably not.
yeah, now I just think he'll show up at the very end. Like I said, will Kanki and them will kill Kocho, and then they'll you know what I'm saying? They'll have that like little celebration or whatever, and then that's when we'll get the report. Like Raboku will be getting the report that Kocho's dead, and then Kantan will be summoning him back to the capital. So it'd be like a prelude for the next battle. It's like a nigga, we know what's about to happen type shit because we know Raboku's back, but I don't see him coming in this arc anymore. It's just too much now. And plus, who's Kanki gonna fight with, bro? Like think about that for a second. If Raboku does come, nigga, Kanki's big fuck.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that's not even
pretty
like
insurmountable
yeah,
odds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's not even like we can do this if we nigga. Nah, that's just because like he's coming with Sheba show. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like it's just gonna be remote. Like, nah, that's too much. If Kanki were to pull up right now, that'd be too much. I mean, if Roboku were to pull up on Kanki, that'd be too much.
I
So
still think it
I
could
don't see
work. I
that.
just don't think it's very likely at this moment. But let me ask you this. I'll end it off with this. Two
Mm-hmm.
things. So, if Kocho doesn't appear to be impressive in this arc, then that doesn't necessarily have to mean that he's not impressive. He just didn't get the show because Kanki bodied him. So whatever you feel about that, but do you think him not getting to show how impressive he is, like how much would that lower the arc for you? And two, how much are you looking? Well, this is kind of two things, but how much are you looking forward to a potential dialogue between Kanki and Kocho because they're kind of like both about pain and suffering, like they have like their own ideas about it. They're kind of like opposite sides of the same coin, and we talked about like how that can make for some interesting themes, interesting dialogue. Like how much do you want to see
Mm-hmm.
that? And I'm assuming you do want to see it, but how much does that matter in comparison to Kocho being impressive or not, or like showing he's impressive or not? Because to me, I'm not like
Ooh.
I did want to see Kocho being impressive. I've been saying for the longest that I wanted to see it back and forth, but ever since
Mm-hmm.
we got that hype and we kind of got like some build up during the Raido getting tortured chapter, but then after that when we got the Buddha guy, like we got some glimpses of his ideology and it's kind of like build up for what we're gonna get from Kocho. I really want to see like more about Kocho's character, and I was like, regardless if it happens with Shin or Kanki, I just want to see more. But it would be cooler if it happened with Kanki.
Um. Okay, so for me personally, I kind of do need to see Kocho perform. Like I do need to see it because at this point he's just a hype tool. You know what I'm saying? He's just he's XYZ, but we haven't seen any of it. So I kind of do need to see the hype on display.
Well, here's the
Um,
thing. I kind of agree and I kind of don't because I don't think a plan like the genius of it is measured just by how impressive your opponent is. Like the Olsen plan against Ordo, like I use that as an example. He was good at
mhm.
mountain reading, but it more so came down to a battle of wits or like a psychological battle rather than like a battle of who can utilize the mountains better. So in that instance, like Ordo, he didn't really get much hype to his actual intelligence other than just being good at reading mountains. But we still know the Olsen plan is great because, of how it was executed. So like you don't need necessarily to like hype up or like show your antagonist doing crazy things to know that this plan is a really good one. You just need to look at the actual plan and be like, how hard is this to figure out? How hard is this to come up with?
But for Kocho, what was the plan? Just wipe them out, just kill Conky?
No, I'm talking about
It's
Kanki's
like
plan.
it,
I'm talking about Kanki's
no, no.
plan.
I'm talking about in terms. Okay, okay. So for Conky's plan, like I said, I like the fact that it seems like the wind up was all set up by Shin, but he'll be the final act. Like I said, if like the only thing that will ruin it for me in terms of the like Conky's portion is if Conky needs further assistance. Because you know what I'm saying, like niggas shit on the younger generation all the time. Oh, you're not really a general until you can handle things on your own. You're not this until you can do this without asking for help and without needing help and this, that, and the third. But it's like, nigga, we don't hold generals to those same standards. Like Conky's, like everything Conky has done has come with outside assistance. No matter how you know what I'm saying, no matter how impressive you want to say he could have done it, him thinking about it or him doing it by himself, nigga, him taking out Sekio was done with Kocho's help. Him taking out Kokyo Hills was done with the High Shin unit's help. This was done with the High Shin unit's help. And it's not like it was little help, it was major help. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Well, he didn't really
are
need
we
help for
just gonna
Gembo. And Choto was like, you could take him or leave him.
Yeah. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying it's all major help, but again, it's like my nigga, like you still getting help. Like I'm like again, the way I'm looking at it, generals are supposed to be able to get shit done with just their armies. And Conky, to my knowledge, and you might be able to, you know what I'm saying, like go back, Draco can definitely go back and tell me something, but what has Conky done solo dolo without major assistance from another party?
Well, I would not consider Choto major assistance, but that's arguable.
That
But
nigga kept a lot. I mean, Conky went down there with 200 motherfuckers, and Kocho kept a lot of those 200. I mean, like 400 alive. Like him, like Kocho fighting and Kocho showing his will and all of that. Like I'm gonna hold you. Kocho saved Conky from having to fight a duel. Not to say that Sekai would have beaten Kanki, but just to say that he nigga, it wasn't mediocre. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a minor part.
Well, it wasn't minor in the sense that he played a big role, but I'm not convinced that Kanki, he wouldn't have sliced through the motherfuckers himself and then just killed Sekai and then gotten out.
Okay, so we count fine. So Sekai, but
And also Genpo, he didn't really get help there.
Genpo. Okay, Genpo. That was okay. I ain't gonna hold you. Wasn't the
That's
best.
okay.
Wasn't. It was an okay feat. I'm not gonna lie. That's when he was like disguised as the enemy soldiers and popped up on his camp and shit, right?
Yeah, it was more so the timing
Yeah.
of it, like it seems like Kaishibo's at your HQ and you're about to get bodied, and like even in that moment, you're still thinking about offense and like how to turn it around. You know, it's kind of like I compared it to Chagaryu's feat, where it's like they're encroaching upon his HQ, and most people would just be thinking about retreating, but like Chagaryu had the presence of mind to be like, no, this is a good counterattack opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I like Kanki, but niggas you can't overhype him in my presence. That shit all comes off the back of the high shin units. I'm sorry.
But yeah, back
This
back to
shit.
the questions. So, cause like
Yeah,
I'm assuming
Koto.
like obviously Kanki's plan is a big part of the arc. That's been like what most of the arc has been focused on. So
Yeah.
how good the execution of the plan is, like not just how smart the plan is, or like it's not just that. It's like how good do you think it was storytelling wise? Because obviously it could be really smart, but you can be disappointed if Kocho didn't get to do much, and it seems like he was just a hype tool.
Yeah, I was about to say that, like that right now, without any further context, like that is my biggest complaint because it just seems like he's been sitting at his HQ. Aside from the torturing Ritos part, he's just sitting at his HQ. For Conky, I need to know exactly from Conky's fucking lips when he decided to do this. Like, when was this the plan and why was this the plan? I do need to hear the reasoning before I can judge, like, before I can fully judge it as smart or dumb. Because if you just want to base it off what's happened, it's a dumb plan. I've never been one to say the ends justify the means, so sacrifice half of this just to, like, no, that's bad.
Well, we're gonna get into that in the next discussion, but
Yeah.
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Like the spoilers. This is something that I'm gonna spoil because it doesn't really matter. The spoilers
Hmm.
said that Kanki thought of this from the beginning, or like Kanki didn't say it, but Kocho pretty much said that, which is like horror implying to us without having
Right.
Kanki say it himself.
Okay, so if this was something that Conky, yeah, I ain't gonna hold you. That's really bad. Then like, that's really bad because if this is something that Conky has had planned from the jump, that means from the jump he had plans to sacrifice his entire army.
Yes, indeed.
You know what I'm saying? So it just seems like was Kocho that big of a threat? I guess that just hyped up Kocho more because like Kocho was this big of a threat that from the jump, Conky had to be willing to sacrifice half his army to get the job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
See, that's
does
what
that
that's
make
what I've been
sense?
saying because
Like, does
like
that
in
make
this
sense?
this is what I've been saying. Like basically 80k versus 240k. It's such a bad situation that this was his only option to winning. But he didn't have to take this fight in the first place. They could have just did the
Right.
normal thing.
It's like nigga, you could have attacked them more like actable. Fuck. Like, yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I'm gonna need to know everything Kanki was thinking when he was doing this. Because again, if what Kocho's assumption is right, and he was just like, yeah, from the jump, I'm gonna sacrifice fucking Kokuo, Rengoku. I guess he really does need Maron and fucking Raito because, like, again, those were the only two that he sent messengers to. You know what I'm saying? So I guess he really needs them, but everybody else can get got, and it won't be a problem. I don't fucking know, my nigga. It just seems like if this was your plan, yeah, I can see why now you didn't tell nobody because nigga, I don't know how many of them would have stood around after knowing like, yeah, I need half y'all to die. Like what, boss? Like, yeah, that's the plan. Half y'all gotta die. Like I truly like that's not a plan. I'm sorry, that's not a plan, bro. I'm sorry. Like the more I think about it, the more trash it sounds in my head.
All right. Well, we'll continue that talk later. But what about the
Yeah.
Kocho thing with his ideology and how important is that to you to get that, like to get actual more characterization from him and to get like those
Um,
dynamics compared to the plan?
I ain't gonna hold you. It's like 50-50. It's like 50-50. While I am
That's
interested
agreeable.
in, I'm interested in his backstory, his reasonings, his motivation, and all of that. But I don't want to get like a Kocho flashback as his head is hitting the ground and that be it. You know what I'm saying? Like I do need him to put a fight up, and then like in the middle of the fight we get more characterization or whatever, and that to me would make it that to me would be the best way to end this, you know what I'm saying, to wrap up the arc
Well,
given what we have
did you
so
see
far.
my predictions?
No, I didn't.
So this is about the chapters after next chapter. So basically, assuming that the stats are right with Kanki being a 93, Kocho being a 90, obviously Kanki
Mm-hmm.
has a martial advantage. So I'm assuming they duel, and it starts off with Kanki having the advantage. Like being Kanki, it's like everything is leisurely to him. He's not having much of a problem. And then
Mm-hmm.
like Kocho starts gaining the upper hand slowly. Like it showcases his weight, and then we're like, damn, how does Kocho have so much weight? Because obviously he's been built up to have a lot of weight. Like something impactful is there about him. And then we like go to his flashback, and we see his flashback like pretty much right after Kocho starts gaining the upper hand. And after we finish the flashback, we like see Kocho gaining more and more of an upper hand until like Kocho thinks he's gonna win. It seems like he might win, and then like Kanki, we see his weight come out, and it actually gets revealed that Kanki has more weight than Kocho, and he just like bodies Kocho, and like it leaves us with this question that's like leaves us with intrigue to what Kanki's backstory is gonna be. Is like, how does Kanki have so much weight? Like Kocho, like he's carrying like the state on his shoulders. It makes sense for him to have this weight. Why does Kanki have so much weight? And like it just leaves you with that question until we get the backstory.
Mm. I mean, look, I've always been the person. I've always been one to say Conky doesn't have weight. Nah, seriously, and like this is not even like a knock on Conky. It's just given like what we've seen weight to be, what it represents. It's like Conky doesn't have any loyalty to the country. He doesn't give a fuck about family. You know what I'm saying? Like what is Conky's weight rooted in?
I
You know what I'm
think
saying?
I think like
That
it's his hatred. Like he cares so much. Like he cares a lot about something. I think like some fucked up shit happened to him, and like he also like has this like bitterness towards the world. It's like everything's fake to him in a sense, and like just whatever his ideology is, like he cares about that deeply for some reason.
mm. I mean, look, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he had weight, but as of right now, I don't think Conky's weight is anything crazy. I think
But
it's just the way he thinks is so maniacal and so, for lack of better words, right now, retarded. Like he just has, like you know what I'm saying, he does things that nobody thinks about because it's too stupid to think about. Like no, like again, no one would think in their right mind, yeah, someone is willingly gonna sacrifice half of their army to have a chance at come just to have a chance at running my fade. Like you know what I'm saying? So it's like cool, but I'm not a fan of this one. I would have liked to have for it to have had a better setup and reasoning than just yeah, this is it. I don't know. This is leaving a bad taste in my mouth.
well, you always find a way to bring it back to that somehow. But I'm basically
No, because
just
I'm saying with the Cocho. No, I'm answering the Cocho thing too because most of Cocho's fucking relevance has to deal with how it responds to Conky. Like, nigga, like you telling me you care about Cocho as a character individually? No,
I
don't.
do,
No, none of
yeah.
it.
Not
You
bef-
do?
I had like a
I
little.
didn't.
I cared a little bit with the Rhino chapter, but the Buddha Man chapter that really made me intrigued in what his character was.
I was like, yeah, nah. Like, I don't know. Like, I care more about the Buddha nigga than I did Cocho. To
Yeah,
be honest with you, like that
I
shit
do
didn't
too.
mean.
But that's the thing. Like Kocho, his character is also going to elevate the Buddha's character because we're going to learn more about him through Kocho.
I don't know. See, I figured we would learn more about Cocho through him, but I doubt we learned anything about the Buddha nigga from
Well,
Cocho.
it's both because he was probably there with Kocho, right? So whatever the tragic thing was that made him so apathetic, we're going to learn that.
Mm. Yeah, nah. Right now, Cocho is just nigga took the bait. He looking real foolish, and like I said, I need Cocho to do something as in terms of this war more than I need his character background.
Well, that's fair enough, but we'll end it with this. So, do you
Yeah,
think that's an intriguing
yeah.
prospect? Like, just being left with the cliffhanger, like, oh shit, Kanki has more weight than this guy who like had the weight of the state on his shoulders. Like, what's up with that? Like, what is his backstory? Like, don't you think that's a good way to cliffhanger it?
Ooh. Is that a good way to cliff? You know what? Yeah. If we leave it in like they're clashing, like you said, they're clashing, and then Kocho shows the upper hand, and it flips, and then Kanki comes back. I can take what I can get. I'll take what I can get at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because I had higher hopes for Kocho coming into this war. I really did, and it just seems like they're all being left for naught. It just seems like it just seems like it's like what was the point of him being the guardian deity of defense if this nigga did nothing but go on offense and still lost two generals? like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so fucking weird to me how that just guardian deity. He had 240K. Like, I remember earlier y'all was saying that they're way stronger than the Kwang Rong and all of this shit. So it's like, yo, I don't know. I don't like.
I don't know, but I want to play ball.
Yeah, like it's just weird now. Like now it's just we know Kanki's plan. We have like a better inclination of it. So now it's just like, all right, how is Kocho gonna like come back from this? And if he doesn't, like I said, if he doesn't have a comeback, then my nigga, this is trash.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that for now. We're gonna
Yeah.
be looking to have another discussion at around 10. So that's gonna be the fun one. That might go on for 2 hours. Who knows? Because I know motherfuckers are gonna have a lot to say. A lot to say, especially if Tone's there too. That shit's gonna last a while. But yeah,
Let me just end it by saying this. Kanki can't use basic tactics.
facts. That's why he wanted to get with Yotanwa. They're the can't use basic tactics couple.
Oh, I want to hear Drugo's come back for this one. Oh, no, he has basic tactics. He just doesn't use them.
we just haven't seen them.
Oh man, I can't wait. But yeah,
Alright.
it was a decent chapter.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it did a decent job of building up the entrance, but all this really depends on what the exact specifics are of the plan and what Coach is going to do, all that type of shit. So basically what we've been waiting for like 5 months now. But yeah, we'll end it at that. So peace out.